viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, it's all about EPL football. But first, we'll be reviewing what took place over there in the Champions League and then looking ahead as it relates to the big matches coming up on the weekend. Now, joining me this evening to talk some EPL football, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back with us.
Christoph, another interesting week of football. Let's kick things off over there first in the Champions League, Christoph. The English teams, what's going on?
In terms of
The
the
results. I mean, no English team left the first leg with a win. Absolutely not one. Six qualified and six of them failed to record a W. Draws from, was it Arsenal and Newcastle, and then defeat for the rest. I mean, City looks like as if they're out. Chelsea also looks as if they have one step out of the competition as well. Liverpool lost narrowly to Galatasaray in a very hostile away stadium. No fans to follow Galatasaray to Anfield. So I would say Liverpool down one, but I think Liverpool has the advantage there in possibly progressing. But what can you say, Christoph? As I said, what's going on with the English teams?
um yeah, like I said, I think Liverpool potentially still have a chance to go through. Obviously, Arsenal still have a chance to go through, especially with the second leg being played at the Emirates. Newcastle, despite drawing, kind of giving away their lead because they could have got a winner there. I think they still have a chance to go through because, in my opinion, while Barca had the possession, Newcastle, I think, created more chances. And we see where Barcelona looks very vulnerable on the counter attack, in my opinion. So Newcastle, if they're able to, capitalize and, make those chances count, could go on to win. That being said, Barca do tend to step it up quite a bit when they play at the Camp Nou, which is why I
Right.
said had the second leg been played at if this was the first leg at the Camp Nou and they draw 1-1 and then the second leg playing at St. James's Park, I would definitely say Newcastle to go through. Right now, I think Barca will still go through, but Barca look very vulnerable on the counter attack. And what I will say is if Newcastle potentially had, Isak, they probably
Well,
would have won that first leg.
no, we don't want to go all the way
No,
back
no,
there at
no,
all,
no, not
Christoph.
like that. No, I'm just saying, had
Yeah,
they a quality, somebody like a quality informed
right, right.
striker,
Yeah, possibly.
they probably won this first leg,
Possibly,
maybe
yeah.
like
Plus,
3-0.
Garden was out, I think, with some sort of illness as well. So that was definitely a blow to Newcastle's offensive hopes. But yeah, the good performance by Newcastle.
And, you know, as
But
for
coming away
the
1-1, still in the tie. I mean,
yeah,
at the
still
end of the
yeah,
day,
they're still in the tie end of the day. The Chelsea game, Chelsea versus PSG, I thought
right?
was
That one ended 5-2 for PSG.
very it was very close for me for about 75 minutes. Then Chelsea made a mistake and the floodgates kind of opened on them, so to speak.
Right?
I thought for the most part, given that I didn't expect much from Chelsea, Chelsea performed much better than I was expecting in that game. And I think maybe had they not, capitulated at the end there, they would have been happy to go back to the bridge, with a draw. But something that we've seen with both Chelsea and Tottenham deciding to swap out goalkeepers,
Oh
um,
yeah, I totally forgot about Tottenham as well.
potentially to the detriment of their games. Uh, that being said, like even though aside from probably Tottenham, I think all the English teams still potentially have the
No,
chance to
not at
go.
all. No, no,
Aside from
no.
Tottenham,
City has no chance.
I
3-0
think
down, City has no chance. Chelsea, 3 goals down, has zero chance. And of course, Spurs might as well start prepping for life in the championship.
nah, I mean, yeah, it is it is an uphill fight, yes. But I
I
think
don't give them any
there's
chance
still
at all. I don't
I
see them pulling back
I think
3 goal, 4 goal deficit. Cause you have to, there's no away goal rule now.
right.
It's straight up aggregate. So you have to score four. So City has to find some way to
City have
score
to fight four
four.
and keep out Madrid.
Right? As well as
I
the same over there at Chelsea. Chelsea has to
right.
find four, and the same thing over there at Spurs. What Spurs have
No,
to
no,
find.
we don't need to. I don't think
And that's
Tottenham
what I'm
have.
saying.
I don't think
Spurs is
Tottenham
now
have it in them.
looking to prep for life in the championship. They should be
Right.
looking to see who they can offload and get some quality championship players who could possibly take them back up next season. But yeah, disappointing, I would say, from the English teams, in all honesty. Arsenal held their own, came back from a goal down, getting a draw. So they're totally in that tie. That tie is still in their own hands. But Liverpool, uphill battle, and Newcastle as well, that tie is in their hands. But tough away fixture versus Barcelona. I'm not too sure that Newcastle will be able to progress. But stranger things have happened. Pressure, Christoph, pressure. And we saw that taking over the Spurs goalkeeper. The keeper being subbed after 17 minutes, Christoph. Was that a good decision from the coach, or
It
would you have
it
left him out
was
there, or is it
it
a good
was
decision?
it was definitely an error on the coach to play this goalkeeper. I think it was his first game in 14 months or something like that.
Right,
Vicario was fit, so it's not like there was an injury. I think for whatever reason, the coach maybe lost faith in Vicario, decided to
right.
bench him for this game. But this is too big a game to bring in a keeper who has not played for a young goalkeeper who has not played for 14 months. And
Well, I mean,
you
it
you
seemed as if to me though,
potentially
Christoph, the groundsmen over there at Atletico set the pitch. The players were slipping and sliding, especially the Spurs players were slipping and sliding all over the shop. The groundsman look as if he set the pitch, Christoph. It's the
okay.
first
So,
time I'm seeing so many players slipping and sliding.
so you think there might have been some
Yeah, man,
funny
sabotage, man.
business,
Some
some
some level of
sabotage? Okay,
sabotage went
so
on.
UEFA should investigate,
UEFA should definitely
but.
investigate. I'm not
Uh,
sure how so many players are slipping over because the goalkeeper for one of the goals, he was going for a kick out and he slipped over, presented the ball, easy chance to Alvarez, who passed and kicked in by Lorente. The
okay.
second goal, it was Van der Veen who slipped over and again allowed the Atletico forwards in. And they took a full advantage again. So at least two or three of those goals, Christoph, were from pretty much slippage.
So
I'm not sure
sabotage.
what's going on. Some
Atletico
investigation is
sabotage the game.
needed.
Okay, but at this point,
You
there's
have to
nothing.
use your
They're
home
not
court
going to say anything.
advantage.
At this point, the investigation wouldn't yield anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm just saying you have to use your home court advantage, and Atletico definitely did that against this very fragile Spurs team. But the goalkeeper situation, Christoph, is something I had spoken about in previous podcasts. I was questioning the ability of the goalkeeper, and was he suited for the EPL or was he better suited for the championship? And couple of weeks later, we are seeing this played out in sight. So, ah, yeah,
You know,
it's a very mentally tough situation to find you're in as a goalkeeper. I recall Karius Christoph, that famous Liverpool goalkeeper, spilling and allowing Madrid to get that goal in the Champions League final, and his career has never recovered from that. The same may reach Kinski as well over there at Spurs.
perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, this may very well follow him around his entire career. But we move, Christoph, we move. That was the Champions League midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday. Some other interesting result, of course. Bodo Glyn, Christoph, that team which I spoke about, continue to defy all the odds. They take a 3-0 lead into the second leg versus Sporting as well. This one played up in Norway, winning 3-0. They now go to Portugal to defend that 3-0 advantage. And my money is on Bodo Glint to continue their fairy tale run. Yeah, but interesting times ahead over there in the Champions League. But our attention shifts, Christoph, and EPL action is back on the weekend. Big matches, big results, big implications coming up. A number of interesting games are on the cards this weekend. Where should we start? Where should we kick things off? I like the look of the Manchester United Aston Villa game, Christoph. I think that will be a tough game, a very close competitive fixture. Manchester United at home versus Aston Villa, who have fallen off somewhat over the last couple of weeks, but can they pick themselves up? Can they maintain their position in the Champions League spots. Talk to us about this game, Christoph. What are you expecting from Alex Carrick? That's the only thing I can call him right now. His results since taking over at Manchester United have been Sir Alex Ferguson like Christoph. Hence the term Alex Carrick. What can we expect from this United team? Having had a week to prepare as well.
Honestly, I would give advantage United, not just because they're the home team, but because Aston Villa just played Europa League, and as such, we've seen where they potentially don't have the squad depth to cope. So it could be that they're coming into this game with a couple of tired-ish players. I mean, the post-match interview with Martinez and Emery said that they think they're getting back to their best. So, maybe turning point for them right now to kind of get back in form. But I give the edge to United. I expect them to keep playing how they've been playing, counter-attacking football. They have created a lot of really good chances since Carrick, but majority of their goals, and especially against quality opposition, have come from counter-attacks. So, something we talked about before, that United's best attacking opportunities are, majority of their goals are from counter-attacks, and I'm expecting that to continue in this game. I think they'll beat Villa on the counter-attack. I will go 2-1.
Who goes to one? Wow. Wow, that's an interesting call there. I mean, Emery is a quality manager, Christoph. Aston
Oh,
Villa
no
have
doubt.
produced good results under his tutelage. This is a big match. The Aston Villa players, Christoph, I think they will be up for this game. This is a big matchup. Manchester United, resurgent Manchester United, who is also in the hunt for a Champions League position. So you could say this is a Champions League six-pointer. Chances are whoever win this match will pretty much lock up their place in that Champions League position, and both teams are really pushing for this. As you mentioned, Aston Villa is already playing over there in Europe in the Europa League. They will be looking to take advantage of that competition. Got a result today as well, winning their away fixture 1-0 versus Lille, Christoph. And your guy, Juru, he has now switched from the MLS and he is now the big number 9 for Lille.
Yes,
Where
I've
you
been
where
watching him since this week. I've been watching Lille.
and what is it, the Juru of all, or are you now seeing decay in his ability?
It definitely decaying the ability. The first couple of games for the season, he looked good, but he wasn't really getting the goals. But since then, to me, the farm has kind of not necessarily that he's bad, but he's not the Juru of old.
I see. So you don't see him making the French team and getting a swan song at the World Cup then?
No, I don't think he's going to make the French team.
Interesting times ahead there for France and the World Cup. But
Also,
yeah,
I'm not 100% certain, but he might have retired from international.
yeah, I
Not
mean,
100%.
players come out of retirement all the
Yeah,
time, Christoph.
players
That's
come
just a
out of
saying. That's
retirement.
just on paper.
Yeah, I don't think even if he said he wanted to potentially play in the World Cup, I don't think he would make the national team right now.
Indeed. But back to this game, though. I mean, Aston Villa, I think, do have a chance in this one, Christoph. And I'm gonna go with a draw. I think Aston Villa may rise to the occasion, and
I mean,
this
yeah, they
game
have
may
a
end in a
chance.
draw.
There's a chance. There's always a chance. I just don't see them winning this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw in this one, to be honest. I'm gonna take a punt on Aston Villa, United, of course, should enter this one the favorite for sure, but I just think Emery may have something up his sleeve. He is a quality manager and he may just analyze this Manchester United team and come up with a game plan that works. So for me, I'm gonna go 1-1 in this one over there at Old Trafford. Then we have Liverpool, Krista, versus Spurs. Liverpool versus Spurs. Liverpool, another team pushing for Champions League. And of course, Spurs, they are in the middle of a relegation dogfight, Krista. They need the result. Liverpool needs the result. This game is taking place at Anfield. Who comes out the winner in this one?
Um, you would expect Liverpool to come out the winner in this one, just because of the horrendous performances that have been coming from Spurs of late, and that heavy beating that they receive from Atletico Madrid fresh in their minds. I expect Liverpool to to beat them. Probably 2 goals to 0.
So you're saying this should be a comfortable walk in the park for Liverpool. Liverpool just needs to turn up then.
Uh, the Spurs is very low on confidence at the moment. As long as Liverpool turn up and play, it should be a win.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against Liverpool versus the Spurs team in all honesty, Christoph. Even though Liverpool isn't playing any football that's eye-catching, in all honesty, they look an average team who plays average football, to be honest with you. Uh,
Depending on set pieces.
well.
7 of
Well,
Liverpool's last 9 goals have come
Well,
from set
possibly,
pieces.
yeah. And I mean, Arsenal has set the trend. I mean, that's a constant in the EPL these days. But I guess teams these days will take the goals.
I
I
mean,
don't think
uh,
teams say, "Hey,
Arsenal
it's not
might
a
be
goal if it comes from a set play."
Arsenal might be the best at set pieces, but Arsenal is not the highest, does not have the highest ratio of set piece goals. That's
Oh,
Crystal
really? Oh,
Palace
oh,
with
really?
52% of their goals coming from set pieces.
But does Arsenal have the most individual goals from set pieces, though?
Arsenal has over 100 goals scored so far this season in all competitions. They have 20 set piece goals in all
20.
competitions.
Wow. So that is 20% of the Arsenal goals have been set pieces then.
In all competitions.
But
Arsenal have
do they
a
lead
hundred,
the
a
table
hundred.
though? Do they lead the table in individual goals from set piece? So they have 20. Is 20 the leader as it relates to set piece goals?
No, that is across all competitions. That's
Right.
Champions League, Cups,
Yeah, yeah,
FA
yeah.
Cup, Carling Cup. Are you saying in the league?
Well, do you have the stats for the league as well?
I
How
I, I
much
don't
have
know
they scored?
I don't
Okay.
know what it is in the league. I think it's
Okay.
probably is might be like 15 in the league.
But 20 overall have
20
come from
overall.
corners or set pieces, including
Set
free
pieces
kicks.
in general, corners, free
Free
kicks,
kicks,
and penalties.
throw-ins. Okay, got you,
Arsenal
got you.
haven't scored any goals from throw-ins.
Interesting stuff for sure. Interesting stuff. It seems as if set pieces, Christoph, corners, free kicks, throw-ins have taken the league alight, and the narrative is now shifting in that direction. But you're saying 2-0 for Liverpool. I also concur with a Liverpool win, but as you mentioned, that the Spurs' confidence is pretty low at the moment. Possibly if Liverpool get one, they may get two, they may get three. Spurs may very well implode on the field. The possibility exists. Or it could be a case where they rally. They have nothing to lose at this point except their status in the EPL. They may
I
rally,
mean,
I don't know.
I'll be honest.
But
I'm
I would have to do
after
definitely go with Liverpool.
after the Atletico game. I'm surprised that they did not fire the manager. To be honest,
Mm. Well, do you
because
think that that would have done the team any good and increase their chances of
I'm
survival?
I'm not necessarily sure
Possibly
it would
getting
do
a
the
new coach
team.
bounce.
I'm not necessarily sure that it would do the team any good, but at the moment, keeping the manager does not appear to be doing them any good
Yeah,
either.
because in recent time, to be honest, Christoph, this is the first appointment I've seen in my memory that the team has failed to get a new coach bounce. I think maybe Amarin, but the thing with Amarin's appointment was that Van Nistelrooy got the new coach bounce. Amarin didn't. But in terms of a direct appointment, not necessarily an interim being sacked, but a direct appointment,
Maybe Ange.
this coach Tudor Igor, he has not gotten any sort of new coach bounce from these Spurs players, to be honest. I mean, in fact, the team looks as if they are playing worse under him compared to when they played under Frank, to be honest. So, I'm not
Um,
sure.
there is also the fact, something that I've spoken on before. Spurs tends to fade closer to the end of the season, and we're around that time when they start to fade. We saw, Ange's first season. Yeah, it was a relatively decent first season, but we saw them fade at the end of the season. Last season, they were poor for obviously the majority of the season, coming in either 15th or 16th. And at the moment, it's set to be a repeat, and you're with them potentially on that relegation chopping block as well. So
Yeah,
worse than with Ange.
Yeah, this game versus Liverpool may be another nail in the coffin, in all honesty, because I think Spurs has the worst form in the league at the moment, even worse than that of Wolves, who occupy 20th spot. So
If I recall, Wolves has 2 wins in their last five, so
anything other than a Liverpool win would surely be a massive disappointment, especially with the fact that Liverpool is battling out to get into that Champions League spot. So it has to be a Liverpool win. It must be a Liverpool win. Otherwise, Slot may very well be on the chopping block come the end of the season. So for me, I'm gonna call it 3-0 to Liverpool, Christoph. Well, in fact, no, not 3-0, 3-1, because Liverpool can't seem to keep clean sheets. So I'm gonna go 3-1 in favor of. So Richarlison will come up with a goal, Christoph, in the dying moments, as per usual. You know, I believe so. But
I
3-1
mean
is the call for me.
he celebrates those goals like he just scored a last minute winner.
Well, sometimes these goals are quite spectacular. I must give him that credit, you know. But we move to another big game, Christoph. Big fixture. This one is Chelsea versus Newcastle. Will the cycle follow Newcastle again? Play
Potentially.
midweek and can't get the result on the weekend.
I mean, they have everything against them in this one. You know, they have they played midweek and they're playing away from home, so everything is against them.
So it's an easy
If
call
if
for
the
Chelsea then.
if the trend continues, this is drop points for Newcastle. Could be a draw,
Could be a
but we
draw,
don't
but
expect them to win. So
okay. So you're
lean
going with history.
towards Chelsea winning at the
Yeah,
moment.
definitely, definitely. All money has to be on
I
Chelsea
mean,
getting a
I
positive
have
result.
I have yet to be wrong about this so far this season.
So you're riding that glory train then. You're riding that winning horse all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, then
Newcastle to drop points again.
until they probably drop out of the Champions League, they will continue to drop these points, I think.
Especially when they play away as well. Their away
Especially when they're
form
away
has
from
been.
home, yeah.
Yep, I concur with that assessment as well, and I do expect Chelsea to get something from this game. Might be a tough game, should be a close game, but I think Chelsea has enough to get a 2-1 win. I mean, they should take something from the PSG game. They did get on the score sheet, was in the game for the majority of as well, if not for some suspect goalkeeping, some suspect defending, and I would say a lack of tactical organization, especially playing in a Champions League first leg game away from home. I thought the coach should have probably switched up the tactic as the game was boiling down and maybe go a little more defensive, Christoph, not so open. And,
Oh.
you know, no, Rossini, I'm saying Chelsea
Mhm.
in the game versus PSG. The coach should have probably switched up the tactic, seeing that this was a Champions League first leg away from home
And you're
against
tying
you could
2-2.
correct,
You know, you should
correct,
have,
exactly.
yeah,
Take the draw and go
take
back
the
to
draw
Stamford Bridge.
and
Stay in the
win at the
game.
bridge.
Correct. Or even if you went 1-0 down, you would still give yourself a good chance. So even if you had lost the game, let's say you lost the game 3-2 for argument's sake, 3-2 is a good result. You
Hmm.
still have a chance to go through. Beating a team by 2 goals is not anything miraculous. It happens all the time. But beating a team by three, or well, in this case, four now, then you're in for a miracle, so to speak. So, ah, such are these things. But they should take some positives from that game, Christoph, and bring into this one. So, yeah, I'm going to go Chelsea to win
Yeah,
2-1.
yeah, Chelsea can take some positives, but while I give Chelsea the chance, I strongly feel that they potentially have to kind of blitz PSG at the bridge and then, potentially shut them out.
Possibly, but we'll definitely have to keep a close eye on that one. But we move, Christoph, and we move quickly to another game. West Ham versus Man City. Another team battling out for relegation, and another team coming off a serious humbling versus Real Madrid, Christoph. Valverde first half hat trick. Have you seen a better first half performance in the Champions League in your lifetime, Christoph?
I mean, probably, but none comes to mind at the moment. None comes to mind, but
Ah, it was a
I know
classic.
we've had other first half hat tricks, just none comes to mind right now.
Right, none stands out. But for sure, Christoph, the icing on the cake for me in that hat trick was when Valverde pile off Gehi face inside the 6 yard and volleyed it in the back of the net. Come on, that is a classic goal. That has to be among the Ballon d'Or nominees for this year. I mean, the Puskas nominees, Christoph. That was
Uh,
a sweet move, capped with a goal.
yeah, I mean I've seen worse goals win the Puskas Award. I think potentially I think potentially Pep kind of not overthought the game. Too much tactics, not enough football.
Mm.
Real Madrid, obviously they defended really well back in a block and they came to play on the counter attack and they scored three. Valverde scored three on the counter, right?
Well, I would say one on the counter, out and out counter. But that first one, Magnificent's first shot, they're taking the defender out, and you could say possibly taking the goalkeeper out as well. The other two were build up. I mean, probably started as counters, but then defenders came back, so hold up play. So I wouldn't necessarily classify the other tools as out and out counters, but certainly the first goal, and you could see that was a deliberate tactic by Arbeloa. So kudos to Madrid, kudos to the coach. But back to this game, Christoph. Back to this game. We are back in EPL. We can't dwell on the past. Can Man City bounce back?
And they bounce back. Yeah, they can.
Will they bounce back?
I think so. But I think potentially uh it one of the things that used to happen in the past a lot, but I don't really see it anymore. If you remember back in the day, managers would have like tough games coming up. Say, Arsenal was going to play United on the weekend. United would play a Champions League game. You would see Arsene Wenger in the stands, kind of scouting out the game. And we don't really see that anymore. I guess, the games all show on TV or whatever.
Right.
But I'm not
But I mean, you
sure.
could see it possibly still happen, but maybe the camera doesn't pick up the
Maybe.
scouts.
But yeah, maybe. But back in the day, I even I saw it with a lot of managers. Alex Ferguson, he has a game on the weekend. He would go and watch the team that he's going to play. Right? You would see him writing notes and stuff. And I saw it with Arsene Wenger. He used to go to games, write notes. I
Well,
don't
I
see it
mean, as
much
I said,
more.
it still could happen. We just don't see it coming on TV, that the cameras are not picking it up. Maybe these guys are wearing
Could be, but
disguises or
I
whatnot. So it's
could be, but
possible
I
it still
think it's
happens.
more. I think it's more a case where a lot of the matches are now televised, so they
Right?
probably just watch it with the coaching staff and come up
Correct.
with stuff.
Yep, right.
But
Video analysis.
a lot of the time, well, no. So what I'm getting at is like you would say, all right, I'm going to West Ham, going to play Man City. It's like, all right,
Oh,
let
you're
me
saying the
watch.
West Ham coach would
The West Ham
scout
coach
Madrid.
should have watched that.
But
Watch
who
that
says
game,
it
pick
doesn't
up.
happen? That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm
Ah,
just saying I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just saying
it possibly does happen.
a lot of times you will see like a team lose a match on the weekend. I would be looking, how did they lose that game? Can I do
Right?
that? Can I use that in my
Got
match?
you. It's
And
possible.
what West Ham should take from this game is that Manchester City are very weak on the counter attack.
Right?
Ever since that Rodri injury, they have not been able to defend counter attacks.
Right. Plus, they play a pretty high line as well. I mean, that Vinicius Junior breakaway was from a very high line. He ran from inside his half to receive the ball over the top. So that's another thing they could take. Low block, ball over the top, speedy forwards. Bowen comes to mind, Somerville. So possibly these speedy wingers, Traore as well. Remember, West Ham did acquire Traore during the January window. So he may yet play a role in this game. As you said, speed kills. You can't train speed. So it's a possibility because West Ham definitely need the points. And it doesn't make sense you try and defend it out versus Man City. Why not go for the win? So it should be an interesting game because it's coming down to that part of the season now, Christoph, where teams require results. So you may very well see tactics being changed. You may see teams going a bit more gung-ho and getting rid of the low block, so to speak. So what you may find is that these last 8 games, teams may now open up depending on your position in the league, where Points are required, and you have to go out attacking. But in terms of your call for this game, Christoph, what's the call?
I think, potentially Man City to win 2 or 3-0. Might see Pep experimenting with some tactics to, potentially
Hmm.
try and overturn the deficit. But he will
Ah,
definitely, obviously, if you're going to drop out of the Champions League, then this is not a game you can afford to lose. So potentially they'll be looking to get a really big win in this one to kind of bounce back.
I'm gonna go the complete opposite of you, Christoph. My gut instincts, my football instincts is telling me West Ham will get a win in this one, Christoph. For some odd reason, I think City is going through a little lull period at the moment. And I feel this will be taken advantage of by West Ham. As you mentioned, speedy wingers, West Ham has that in their position. Somerville, Bowen, Traore. These are three quick players who could potentially hurt this team. They are at home in front of their fans. They need the points. They need the results. They have a chance of escaping the relegation zone. And this is a game that I think they will look to get a win from. So my call is for West Ham to upset the apple cart, Christoph. My call is for West Ham to hand Arsenal the trophy. And by so doing, put all end to any title race for Man City. So my call is 2-1 to West Ham, Christoph. 2-1 is my call. West Ham to win, 2-1. So you're still sticking with 3-0 Man City.
Yeah, 3-0 Man City.
3-0 Man City is the call there.
Yeah,
A
they're
couple,
in that period where they can't afford to drop points, and I don't think they're going to. So definitely 3-0 Man City.
and of course, Arsenal plays Everton, Christoph. What's your quick fire scoreline on that? What's your quick
Um
analysis?
Potentially a tough
Arsenal at
game.
home versus Everton.
Potentially a tough game, especially because again, Arsenal can't afford to drop points. As we've seen with all of these, most of these teams so far this season, when they come to Arsenal and they try to get a point, Everton is going to play in a low to mid block and then try and play on the counter attack. Arsenal will need to dig deep and potentially score some set pieces. Try and break down that low block. Yeah, unlock that low block with a set piece, force Everton to kind of play,
Right,
and
right.
then you are able to now play through that defense and then get those extra goals
So this
to
should
kill
be
off a
another
game.
W for Arsenal then, is what you're saying.
It on paper this should be a win for Arsenal.
And what's the call?
I'm going to go with Arsenal to win 2-1.
2-1. Wow. I'm gonna go Arsenal 2-0. Yeah, but yeah, Arsenal should win. Everton, defensively sound team. They're not gonna necessarily get blown away, but as you mentioned, one goal could open them up, and if they do open up, then Arsenal could possibly take advantage. So my call, Arsenal 2-0. Some other quick fire games here, Christoph. Burnley versus Bournemouth. What's your score there?
I think Bournemouth will win. Could be a close game. Maybe 2-1. Farm has been spotty, but obviously Burnley, one of the worst off teams in the league. So Bournemouth to win 2-1 or 2-0.
Bournemouth. Yeah, this have the makings to me of a high scoring game. I'm gonna go 3-2 to Bournemouth. 3-2 to Bournemouth. Then we have Sunderland versus Brighton, Christoph. Sunderland at home versus Brighton. I see Sunderland picking up a win versus Brighton at home. Sunderland has been impervious at home, and that is what has secured them for another season in the EPL. So I'm gonna back Sunderland to remain defensively sound and try to bully and outplay Brighton physically in this one. So I'm gonna go 1-0 to Sunderland, Christoph. What says you?
Yeah, I think Sunderland will win this one, especially because I think potentially Brighton's form could be waning. We saw the Brighton manager trying to play mind games with the referees last week. The Arsenal game, blah blah blah. Arsenal is not playing anything illegal. I don't know what they're complaining about. So yeah, I don't think they have much left in them for the season, to be honest. So I think Sunderland will win. I think it will be like 2-1.
To Sunderland. Then we have Crystal Palace versus Leeds. Crystal Palace versus Leeds. What says you?
I'm going to go with a draw.
Draw.
1-1 draw. I think Leeds have kind of tweaked their tactics a little bit, and they've been playing some better football versus where, we know Crystal Palace, they won the last game, but versus how they were playing first half of the season, they've kind of gone off of a cliff. I think this is going to be a draw.
I'm gonna go 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace at home. Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 Crystal Palace. And then we also have Nottingham Forest Crystal versus Fulham, another team in the relegation dogfight. Nottingham Forest at home versus Fulham. You could say a safe mid-table team. Possibly can't finish in Europe and can't get relegated, Fulham. So, they're pretty much just seeing out the fixture.
I
What
mean,
says you?
being in that mid table might give them a disadvantage because they're safe, they're nothing to play for, they don't put in as much effort, to be honest.
True.
I would go with them to win, though, all the same. I
Fulham.
would say, yeah, Fulham. I would still say, Fulham to win 1-0.
Fulham to win 1-0. I'm gonna go the reverse of that. I'm gonna go Forest to win 1-0. Forest at home, desperate for points, need the win under new manager. So yeah, they're playing better football. So I'm gonna go with a Forest win. Forest to win, 1-0. And then the final game on the cards, I believe, is Brentford versus Wolves. Brentford at home versus bottom of the league Wolves, but not the poorest team on farm. What says you?
Brentford 7 players, Wolves last place, but Wolves have won their last 2 games and have looked very convincing in those fixtures, so to speak. They look hungry to kind of get out of that relegation zone. I'm going to go with Wolves to win 1-0.
Oh, whoa, whoa. That's a massive call there. Wolves to win 1-0. I'm gonna go with another high scoring encounter here. That man, Christoph, that Brazilian, Igor. Igor. Second only to Erling Haaland in the Golden Boot race. I think he will find the goals again for Brentford and push Brentford over the edge. So I'm gonna go with a high scoring game. Brentford to win 3 goals to 2. Brentford to win 3 goals to 2. But Christoph, we're quickly out of time. Another full fixture list of EPL action. Any final words as it relates to the football coming up on the weekend?
Um, you know, I'm thinking that the football on the weekend won't necessarily, from the teams in the Champions League, won't necessarily be the highest quality because some of these teams, well, a couple teams, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal probably have a little bit deeper squads than the rest. There is a clear, you would say 11 that's performing, so to speak, for all these teams. So, the quality might not be as good if, especially if these teams are trying to progress to the next stage of the Champions League, as well as, trying to stay in those title races and not drop points, trying to make the top four and get those European spots. So I feel like the quality might be poor this weekend.
That's an interesting assessment there, but we'll be here to see what happens on the weekend. But viewers and subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and of course, share the podcast with friends and family. Tell us, what do you think will be the results on the weekend? Can Man City continue their great run under Carrick, or will Aston Villa
You mean
upset?
United?
Well, yeah, United under Carrick, or will Aston Villa upset the apple cart? But viewers, thanks again. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.